Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Peterson Merit. Today I'll be reacting to Peterson. Today's video is titled Africa is not poor because of colonization. Well, before we start, I agree with that. Well, let's see what he has for us. Without further ado, let's get started.
Well, you list here in one of your articles where you make reference to these rating systems, the bottom 10 countries for doing business in the world: Chad, Haiti, Central African Republic, Congo, Democratic Republic, South Sudan, Libya, Yemen, Venezuela, there's a lovely example, Eritrea and Somalia. And so there are three exceptions in the African ecosystem. Mauritius, Rwanda, Kenya, South Africa, Botswana, and Zambia. You pointed out in your prospectus, is it prospectus article?
Yeah, prospectus article of Artbridge Institute.
Right, that Mauritius is a rising star, and Rwanda is in some wise comparable to Georgia. So some of these countries have started to get this right.
Yes.
And so what's the consequence of that? And what does right mean?
What they have understood, what these countries have understood, is that economic freedom is at the center for prosperity building. Rwanda, for example, Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, is explicit about it. He said he wants to be the Lee Kuan Yew he wants to be the Singapore of Africa, and Lee Kuan Yew is his model. Now, the dirty mouths are gonna start shouting, oh yeah, see, authoritarian, blah, 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 whatever. Me, I wanna talk only about the on the economic side. If you take Lee Kuan Yew and Singapore as your example, then it means that, like him, you're gonna have to be serious about economic freedom. And that's exactly what he did. That's what Singapore did. When Singapore figured that out, they went on to put in the right reforms to make their environment some of the most business-friendly environments in the world, one of the most free markets environment in the world, and you saw the magic of Singapore. Today, Singapore is richer than its ex-colonizer, Great Britain. So when I hear people telling me today, oh, Africa is poor because of colonization, I'm like, please, let's move on from that. Does it have maybe a tiny percentage in where we are today? Maybe, and I don't know. But I know it's not the cause, because if it were, many countless countries have been colonized before, and by the way, colonizing one another is humanity's history. It just happened that maybe Africa has been one of the last, colonized region in the world. So in our psyche, it is there, and it acts like nothing happened before to others. But flash news, it's the history of the world. We've been capturing each other back and forth, all of that. So anyway, but the truth is, Singapore, richer than Great Britain today. And then Hong Kong happened. And then because Hong Kong happened, China even today happened. Because China's like, wait a minute, what went on over there? And then China went on to do the exact same thing with its SEZs, the special economic zones, some of the most free market zones in the world. And then look at it happen in communist China, who, when it comes to economics, decided that we're gonna do the free market, we're gonna be capitalist, because that's the only way. We tried everything else. We killed hundreds of millions of people, and we have nothing to show for it. But now that we're tired of being disrespected members of society, because guess what? That's the other thing too. You wanna be respected in this world? You're gonna have to be among the prosperous ones for other reasons. Would it be nice, G, that we respect people just because? Absolutely. But that's really not the world we live in. So when China got tired of being disrespected, they're like, maybe we got to build also some prosperity here, because then they're going to hear us. And today, China, being one of the, being where it is at, even Hollywood, who tries to tell the world how to think, is being told by China what movies to make and how to tweak stories and history in order to be palatable for them. You see the power that comes with being prosperous.
That's true. Guys, I love this lady so much. I love how she tackles things. It all starts from the leaders. When you have a leader that understand, not even a leader, when you have leaders that understand and know that, okay, it's time for us to, to advance beyond just, squandering money and this, that is when the country starts growing. Because I would take my little state, for example, I'm from Nigeria and I was born and brought up in Delta State. ever since I was born till this, my present age, I've only witnessed, development when a certain leader, that is Ifeanyi Okowa, took over. He's a person that understood that this is what my people has been going through, and he did his possible best to fix it. Okay, I just appreciate him. Aside from that, this is what the world is supposed to be copying, because the world respects you when they see that you are prosperous. They don't want liability. They don't want people that will always be demanding, whereas they are not seeing what you're using those money for. They want to see you develop. I just love the way China is, pushing forward. If you go to China today, it's not like the same China of last 10 years. They are evolving. I saw a video online whereby you can go to China and shop without even anyone present. You pay your money, you take whatever you want to take, then you pay and then leave. That is where the world is evolving to. That is why when they make decision, it counts. When they decide to sanction anyone, the world now is afraid of China. Before, when you get the goods from China, you are scared because you feel they are inferior. But now China are producing quality things. That is what, leaders that are willing to move the country forward, that is what they get. When you are in a society whereby the leaders feel what the subordinate or what the citizens are going through, they would do their possible best to take them out of that situation. That is why I say sometimes I feel there are some countries that are not supposed to be, free. They're not supposed to be independent at this 21st century. I feel like they are not making good use of being independent, because a whole lot of them want to just siphon money just for their selfish reason, for themselves and their family. They are not really doing anything to help the poor man out there, to come out rich. Because it's like, so long as my family is happy, so long as the people around me are happy, then that is it. When it comes to the bigger picture, a country like Nigeria with 200 and something million, population, but when you calculate the number of people that have escaped poverty, the number is not even half to the people that are suffering in poverty. You see, everyone is trying to leave a country that is not developing, because they feel like they can make something outside. And people that are in developed countries are trying to come back to the countries that are not developing, because they feel like there are things that these people are supposed to invest in, but they are not investing in it. That is how the world, behave. People that are in undeveloped country feel they have this education that they can take to developed country and make good money. Whereas people in developed country feel they have this idea that they can bring to developing countries or undeveloped countries, then, make good money from it. That is it. I just feel it all starts from the leaders. Let's just continue and see how it unfolds, guys.
What would you recommend concretely to countries like Senegal to get the hell out of the way, let's say, of the people who would, like you, would do everything they could to try to make it better? I mean, one of the things that happened with India is India established the Indian Institute of Technology, which is a deadly engineering school, and a huge number of its graduates went to Silicon Valley, as you well know.
Yep.
And many of the successful Indian graduates of IIT started to dump money back into India and build a capitalist infrastructure there, or help build a capitalist infrastructure there. So this sort of thing can really take hold. If you were making recommendations to governments who wanted to get on board and stop being like Chad, Haiti, Central African Republic, Congo, South Sudan, Libya, Yemen, and Venezuela, etc., what concrete steps should they take from the bottom up to get the hell out of the way?
Exactly. So two things we've been doing, because I'm a practitioner, that's my entrepreneurial journey. I'm an entrepreneur, so I practice what I preach. But I also preach. I preach for free markets. And so when it comes to that, I'm one of the hats that I wear is as the director for the African Center for Prosperity of the Atlas Network, the largest organization in the world of free market think tanks around the world. And so what we do there is we work on reforms around the world to take down barriers of entry for local entrepreneurs. So that's one thing. But as we all know, that's a great initiative to take, and we've been making some really good advances in many countries, especially in Ghana. We've been making a lot of progress with our partners there, Imani. But that is piecemeal legislation. It takes forever. It is hard as heck. And by the time you made a gain here, you made 20 losses over there, and it's an continuous problem, but until we get better, we got to continue at it. So that's one thing we've been doing, and so that's a hat I wear, working with free market think tanks to try to make it easier for local entrepreneurs to join in the party. Additionally, I'm going bold, I'm going radical. For the past few years, we've been advocating an idea for Africa that found some of its roots in Latin America. And again, I'm related to the people who are involved in this. My husband being one of the key figures in this movement, a movement called the Charter Cities. Paul Romer calls it like that. He's a Nobel laureate in economics. Others call it the Free Cities. I like to call it the Startup Cities. So the best way to think about it, Jordan, and it goes back to what you were talking about earlier when you use the word operating software. Most of the most of the low-income nations, so meaning back in the days, the way we used to call it is poor nations, they have regulations for poverty. They're basically regulated for poverty, meaning the laws, the set of law, poverty. It only calls poverty. And so what some of these folks have thought about, looking at the Dubai example, Dubai just recently entered the top 10 of international financial centers of the world. And what Dubai did at some point is think about it and be like, on this bare, plot of sand that's technically worth nothing right now as is, this 110 acres of land, sand everywhere. They're like, well, maybe Sharia law is not the best for business. We got to think about better set of laws for business. We're talking only about business, not family law, not anything else but business. And they decided there's got to be something better. And so they looked around, and that's actually when, to take one of the terms you used earlier, they're starting to realize, common law is actually a better way for business, specifically British common law. So at that point, and I'm oversimplifying here because otherwise we can totally geek out on it. Remember, this is like one of my latest things that I've been involved in, but latest, it's been the past 10 years, and I'm gonna share with you a win. So Dubai is like, we have to adopt British, common law, primarily British common law. We're going to hire retired British common law judges to come and educate the law here, train our own people, and that, along with many other reforms, to also become a top center when it comes to the and the free market when it comes to the finances. Dubai.
Yeah, well, that British common law system. So it's very, very interesting theologically and metaphysically. So it's predicated on the idea that every individual has all the rights that there are, except for those that are specifically regulated and limited by legal necessity. And then generally that realm of necessity has emerged only as a consequence of disputes between people. So you're free to do whatever you want unless you have a dispute with someone else. Then the dispute is adjudicated according essentially to constitutional and theological principles, and then a precedent is established. And then the whole body of law built up that body of precedents.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's bottom up, not top down.
It's totally
and
that.
English common law is a gift from God, man.
No,
it's something else.
Absolutely. And that's the key word there when you said bottom up. So common law is so much better for bottom up approaches. And we all know that markets work better in a bottom up approach. And also, when they have to educate the law and resolve a dispute, they're going to be much more respectful to the contract that was passed between the two parties than, say, civil law would be, right? And so anyway, so from this standpoint here, you have Dubai who's now trying to put all of this together, and eventually they put a set of laws together that would now be conducive to being a top international financial center in the world. And voila, in less than a generation, in less than 25 years, Dubai, completely unrecognizable.
Well, guys, I love this. I love this so much. Well, this is my first time, seeing Peterson. So cool, when it comes to interview. Normally he's, really ready to strike. But anyway, I love that because I love how educated the lady is. I love how she's, tackling the situation, because I see, like I said before, when you have the interest of, your people at hand, you do everything humanly possible to make sure that your country is really growing. Because there's a saying, I saw this post somewhere, it said Africa is a place where it's like a cemetery. Because when you have money, you go out and invest, you get rich, enjoy your life. Then when you die, they bring you back to bury you in Africa. I see when it comes to Dubai, I see how they've evolved. because Dubai was formerly a place whereby a place where people don't want to go because of one, the Sharia law, and aside from that, their currency wasn't, that big. It does not have that value. But as at now, I love how they were able to turn that desert into somewhere that the full world want to visit. Everyone wants to go to holiday in Dubai because of how rich they are, how beautiful the place is, how they've been able to transform it, even if it's a very hot place. But still, people are going there day in, day out, and they are even restricting some countries from coming in because of, they have the power. You see, that is what she said in the beginning part of the video. She said, when you are able to develop your country, when you're able to, to gain that power, to gain that awareness, to gain that recognition, to make your country stand out, to enrich your country, now you have the right to dictate, because everyone will want to listen. It's commonly in our family, our little family, when there is a rich person among everyone, that person has a right to dictate, because they feel like, yes, you've been able to break out of, poverty, so the best decision that will suit the family. That is how it is in countries, because when you are able to, lift your people, provide the basic things the country need, make your country peaceful, make it a place whereby everyone wants to visit because of how good the law are, how easy accessible, you keep on growing, because so long as people are interested, people are willing to come in, bring their money to your country, you keep on making money. So that is what I don't get here in Africa. I feel even if, yes, Africa is easily accessible, okay, but what are the leaders doing to keep on bringing investors into Africa? Because I see majority of the time we are going out to take loan, we are going out to borrow money, we are going out, to get money to, I don't know, maybe to do our road, okay, to provide few basic healthcare, to pay our salaries, but that is not what the money is meant for. You're supposed to borrow money and make that money grow. You don't just borrow money and fix little things that won't fetch you more money. That is what I'm seeing here in Africa, and it's really, really annoying me every day. Because if I'm to go to a bank to take a loan, I'm not going to take the loan to build my house that I will live in. No, I'm going to take the loan to invest in something that will fetch me more money to pay back that loan. Well, I just can't wait to listen to more videos like this, because I feel colonization is not really what is making Africa the way it is. Because let's say, for instance, Nigeria is up to 50 something years old, being independent. Other countries like Ghana is up to like 60 something, but still we are trying. When it comes to development, we are still getting there. The thing is, I've not seen the leader yet that is eager to make this country move forward. If that leader should come, I'm telling you, Africa will be a place where everyone will want to visit. It starts from, especially West African. I'm being specific about West African because I've lived basically almost all my life in West Africa. I've been to Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria. So I see it's the same thing. I just need someone that is willing, ready to put himself out there, put everything out there to make sure, yes, I'm not working for myself or to enrich my family. I'm working for the betterment of Africa, or the betterment of, Ghana, Nigeria, Togo. I don't know. I just can't wait, check out more videos like this, because it gives me the reason to keep on believing in Africa. Well, let me know what you think in the comment section. If this is the first time visiting the channel, click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and remember this.